independently, then if we're going to play the numbers rule, then that's for
detection.
For detection.
That's what we did yesterday with there was 4 shoplifts, we left 1 alone, but 3. We've done 3 individual crime reports.
Which is what I'll be doing.
So isn't that why they're saying that we're getting really high crime then? Because
yeah, because we have to do everything.
Because you're happy to crime it specifically.
if we're turning 1 crime into 4 for the sake of the figures, then the public aren't getting a true record of what's really going on.
Right. You see, what I would do is I'll reprimand one, create the crime report, detect it, fine. I'll do the next reprimand, I'll do the crime report, I'll link it,
So that way, upstairs won't put them together?
It's harder for them to pick up.
The reason the officers don't want their action to be picked up is that they're breaking the Home Office rules on counting crime. A police inspectorate report on Leicestershire published in October said the force itself had looked into the issue and found significant variances between the Home Office rules and practice on the ground.
In the past, in the bad old days, you used to have high detection rates and you used to have what was called, in a euphemism, noble cause corruption, where the result that the police were out to get were to lock up the villains by cutting corners if they didn't have enough evidence, but they would win the case nonetheless. Now that, of course, led to a lot of malpractice. The results thereafter now are simply to make the figures look right. Now I call that administrative corruption, and as between administrative corruption and noble cause corruption, I'm not sure that we've actually gained very much.
Not only have targets changed the force itself, but also the way officers deal with the public.
But they're taking away my discretion, whereas I can't sit people down now with a cup of tea and yell and get it all sorted over the table. I have to arrest and deal and file and crime. They're taking away discretion. There's more arrests now when there doesn't need to be. But you're stuck in the way that you deal. There's no such thing as detected in a code. Right. You can't do that. You have to have a reason why you do it, all the rest of it and all the rest of it. So you can't say, right, yeah, dealt with it, everybody's happy, they've had a bollocking, which is all they wanted to the person to have in the first place.
The great thing about the police force was we were given discretion. That's now gone, so in the past where you would probably say, don't do it again, you now are actually giving somebody a criminal record because it reaches a target.
Once an officer has made an arrest, a decision has to be made whether or not to charge a suspect. Once charged, they'll be going to court. Here too, the government has made changes. The police used to decide who was charged, but now that decision is taken by the Crown Prosecution Service. The government's plan was to cut down on wasted court time. Many officers resent the change and complain that the new system wastes their time with mountains of paperwork.
Like, for example, offender details, where you fill it out on the custody record, you fill it out on the Phoenix form, you fill it out on the circumstances form, you fill it out again on the computer on the offender sheet. It's just really repetitive.
It's one of the main complaints I hear from police officers is what we're just hearing here, the repetitive nature of their job, how they've become more clerical officers rather than police officers. They're not on the street catching the criminals, doing what they thought they were signing up to do when they joined the police force.
Being convicted of a crime is a 3-stage process. Suspects are arrested, some of them are charged, and a proportion of this group are then taken to court. The CPS now have to demand all the paperwork for a trial before they decide whether to charge someone in the first place. This leaves the police feeling they're wasting a lot of time gathering information for cases that'll go nowhere. The process is called preparing a file, and as this CPS lawyer explains, without one, she won't make any decisions.
And we won't charge them until they're apple pie and all in order.
Yeah.
And that's part of that process is, and it's something really that, you know, senior officers here are just going to have to accommodate that.
Yeah, and it needs to come from them. Because
exactly. And it's part of the process, you know, we're up front now with our preparation, not chasing our tails.
These demands for trial-ready files frustrate officers who fear they waste too much time preparing for cases that won't go to court, as this senior officer explains.
What they want is a completed, finished article.
Yeah.
Actually, life doesn't work like that. And there's nothing that says you have to do that. We're actually in combat with them at the minute.
Yeah, and I said to her, what's the relationship with the police then? And she said, oh, we've got a fantastic relationship. And I thought, that's one thing I've really noticed. It's them and us now. And we did used to work with CPS.
Yeah, they're difficult.
One of Nina's sergeants believes it's this new CPS system that lies at the heart of the problem of police bureaucracy.
Really?
The amount of paperwork. You hear this nonsense about cutting paperwork. It's definitely...
I know.
With CPS taking over the decision making, they basically want a full file before they make a decision.
Yeah.
A recent Home Office report has found that officers spend 43% of their time in the station and that 41% of that time was spent on preparation of prosecution files and other paperwork.
My day's been really frustrating. I feel I've got absolutely nowhere because my prisoner, I don't think, will go anywhere. But it's taken a whole 9 hours. Yeah, 9 hours to process him. So that's 2 police officers off the street for 9 hours. For what?
That's reflected very often in what we do at police stations as well. I mean, we're now finding we're going back to police stations 3, 4, 5 times, sometimes before a decision is made not to charge. And yet government ministers seem somewhat surprised that the cost to the legal aid fund is increasing. And however much we try and explain to them that there's a lot of wastage and wasted time within the system, they don't seem to understand it.
Frustration at delays and mounting paperwork often leads to a breakdown in relations between the police and the CPS.
Don't go up to CPS, and if you do, just poke the bitch's eyes out for me.
Okay. Excuse me, you CPS? Yeah, did you see an officer early on? Yes, I did. Ha! Did you have your MG3 with you or anything?
Yeah.
Was it signed?
Yep.
What's the problem then?
She was really off. Nina said that she felt awkward in there. It was horrible.
She did feel awkward.
She was horrible.
Was it?
She sent me so many tasks.
There was them and us.
The CPS and the police used to work very closely together, and it was them v the defence. But now it feels very much that it's the defence, the CPS and the police all pulling in separate directions.
The Chief Crown Prosecutor of Leicestershire, Martin Howard, said,
I do not believe that this accurately reflects the professionalism of Leicestershire Constabulary or the good working relationship between the police and CPS staff. The charging programme is a new way of working with police which involves the building of robust and sustainable cases from the start. In February 2006, an independent review team conducted a detailed analysis of our charging scheme. They found that both the police and CPS staff had a very good understanding of the principles of charging, and there was good evidence of a strong prosecution team approach.
After 4 months filming, 16 years after she first picked up her warrant card, it's time for Nina to leave the police and return to civilian life.
16 years. 16 years. I've been with the police. But now it's over, and I knew that it would be over when I went into making this programme. But actually the reality is a lot harder than I thought it would be. But I hope that everybody realises why I've made the programme, and I hope that it changes things for the people who are still in the police, the people who do give up so much to be good police officers and who should be supported and not just totally browbeaten by the bureaucracy and the government and the system.
On January the 24th, 2006, Nina Hobson was awarded the Chief Constable's recognition of outstanding work. 3 months later, the Chief Constable watched the programme you've just seen.
Well, can I say first of all,